welcome to another video. In this video I'm going to showcase some of the common camping spots that people tend to sit at in and around military bases. So this video is a little bit different from what I usually make, but yeah, hopefully you guys can enjoy the video. Let me know in the comments below what you think of it, and yeah, I will probably make another video in the future of actually the not so common camp spots. So yeah, stick around to check that out. Some of them might seem familiar to you, some of them might not, but yeah, this is some of the most common spots that I've seen before where people tend to sit at military bases and catch people off guard. But yeah, enjoy the video, guys. Zelenogorsk, probably the most safest military base to loot. Not. Alright guys, Zeleno. Right off the bat, if you get into the main entrance here, basically right here in the corner on your right hand side, people tend to camp here quite a lot. It really catches a lot of people off guard till this day, basically, because people don't tend to watch here. They love just sitting crouched in that corner, and as you walk in here they blast you. So that's one of the obvious spots, but it's also still a good spot. Let's head on to the next one. Next one, actually, as we come in here, immediately people also tend to sit right up there and then camp over the barracks, basically, as it's quite a high point of view they have. They can easily overwatch. As we come down here towards the jailhouse, right here in this bush, especially ghillie guys, they love sitting in this bush, and it's a really good spot to overwatch the barracks as well. Barracks, they can easily, if somebody runs up behind them, runs up in this passage, as people tend to run up here to come up to loot the barracks or go down to go to the train yard. So that's also one of the good but obvious camping spots. And then obviously one of the most obvious camping spots ever is the fire station right up there. People love standing up there and camp. I don't see it as often as I used to. I think it's because a lot of people know about it now, but it's still viable. You can see quite a lot over the military base. Okay, so let me move to one of the last locations that's actually overwatching the train yard here. A lot of people know about it, a lot of people don't know about it, but it's quite a good spot. But yeah, I always recommend checking out these spots before you start looting. Don't just barge into a military base and start looting. Always check out some of the obvious spots people tend to sit at, because it might just save your life. So the next one that I know of is right there in that green mustache. It's so easy to spot people from there running up and down in the train yard here, especially if they are looting in the containers here. They might just stand still, checking, sorting out the loot, and then boom, you get shot from the back. So yeah, that's always a good spot to check out before you start looting around here. Alright guys, so that'll probably do it for Zeleno for now that I can think of. There's actually quite a few more locations that I know of. I've got a lot of good locations that I usually use if I do tend to camp, but I don't really camp a lot. But there's some really good locations that I can showcase to you guys in one of my upcoming videos. But anyway, yeah, let's move on to the next military location. Cheers. Alright guys, so most of us here at Mosquito Tents, we usually come from the train track side or in from the dirt road side at the top there. And I'm going to show you some of the obvious camp spots where people usually camp at. Yeah, as you come into loot here, there's usually guys that you need to look out for in that one there. And I missed the shot, but anyway, know what I mean. That tree there. Oh shit, got the zombie problem. People tend to sit in the tree line going up to the north side. Right there. And then you guys should always have a look on the east side of the tents in the tree line. So that's also usually a very highly populated camping spot. Like right there. Yeah, there's not really much here at Mosquito. It's all of these are obvious camp spots. But yeah, I've got some very good actually camp spots that you can check out in my next video that I'll bring out. That's not so obvious here at Mosquito Tents. So yeah, let's move on to the next one. Right guys, VMC. Probably one of the most obvious camp spots in VMC is actually on the hill. Sniper hill as we call it. Right there at the rocks. People love to sit at the rocks because they have some cover from the back. And then they just watch over VMC basically and see who comes in and who goes out. So it's quite easy to spot people from there. But it's also a very obvious camp spot. So people tend to check those sites anywhere actually on the hill. You just always scan it, especially there at the rocks. People love to sit there. The next spot is actually right here in the corner. A lot of people I see still miss this. They just come barging in here and don't look around the corner. People love to sit here in the corner right there. Actually in all four corners of VMC, people love chilling there waiting for some players to come in, so they just blast them. Yeah, that's probably the most obvious spots at VMC where people love to sit at. If you want to avoid some of these spots, actually, just to make it a bit safer for yourself, is don't run into the obvious places. Don't come into the gate that side. Don't come into the gate that side, and that hole in the wall at the north side. Always run into the middle of these walls here and just jump over or crawl underneath if there is a gap. Then you have a little bit more of an advantage where they won't expect you to come in. So that's always a good thing to practice. Anyway guys, let's move on to the airfield. Alright guys, so we at the airfield now. The airfield is massive guys, so there's so many camping spots here actually, but some of the obvious spots, I'll just showcase one or two of each at different sites on the airfield, just to be brief, try and make it quick. But yeah, just don't mind the helicopter there. I'm actually recording this on a modded server. Anyway, people like sitting randomly inside some of these armor barracks. You can always just check them as you run through here. So it's a good spot for people to overwatch. Yeah, so all these armor barracks is potential spots for people to just hang in, wait for people to run by, and then sneak up behind them and kill them. So always just have a quick glance at all the windows as you run past it. Another spot here at the armor barracks site is this piano building. I've never actually personally seen somebody here, but some of my buddies say they see people here all the time. Actually, they chill inside the piano building in the room upstairs by those windows, and then it's also quite a high spot, an easy spot for them to overwatch some of these barracks on the side. Wait for players to run by and get a sneaky kill. Alright, next location on the airfield. Okay, so the construction site at the airfield, basically self-explanatory. Mostly people tend to sit at the top of this big building, the construction area, just overwatch. So it's always good, just have a quick glance over there, see if you can see anybody maybe peeking around. Usually they run around right at the top or just a level below it, or just sit there and wait for people to run by. They have a good vantage point from there as well, because it's quite high up, so they can see quite far. So yeah, that's basically all I can say from the construction site here. There's not really a lot of camp spots here. That's probably the most common one. Right, move on to the ATC. Right, we're at the ATC. So this is probably one of the most common spots that people always camp as well. I'm going to show you one of the obvious ones if people like to stand, and it is right here by the small window slit. Look at the good vantage point you have out of here. You can actually see the tents all the way from here. You can see the tents, see if somebody's running around there. You can actually spot people that's sitting in the tree line there at the top. Yeah, it's quite a nice spot to sit at, but the problem is as soon as you get seen here, if somebody hits you, it's not going to be a body shot or anything. It's probably going to be a straight headshot on you. But yeah, always a good thing to watch inside the small slit. Let me show you guys what it looks like from the outside, if DayZ lets me.
One eternity later.
Jeez. Alright, so that's a small window slit right there. It's always good, just have a quick glance at it, see if you see maybe somebody peeking around there. But otherwise, check all the other windows, also obvious camping spots. Yeah, that's it for the ATC. So let's move up. Right, so just moving up north from the ATC, there's this big building here with a smokestack next to it. I think you call it just a sawmill factory or something. I used to just call it glitch base, because people tend to, or they used to actually glitch into the bottom. They had a bunch of tents and stashes and stuff that they put inside there. Anyway, obvious spots here is basically people like to lie next down to those air vents at the top, and then you have a very good vantage point from there because you can see a lot of the airfield from up there. So they sit up there, lie down, check over the tents, and then also inside at the top there, they like to peek out of that door there over the airfield towards the ATC as well. But yeah, that's also some spots you can always just check as you run past there, just to make sure nobody's camping it. Alright, so there's not really much on the other side there that I can think of. The next place is basically at the tents. So basically it's the whole tree line there at the top. You can always just scan the tree line there at the top. On the other side of the tents as well, around there. And a bunch of rocks there at the top as well. You can always have a look there as well. People tend to sit on those rocks there, watching over the tents. Alright, so last location is going to be Bash, north side of the airfield. Let's see what we can find there. Right guys, so this is Bash, infamous Bash. Right, so right off the bat, first place, check this tower here, radar tower. radio tower, whatever you want to call it. Also a good spot for people to camp on. Not so good if you know they are there, because they can't really run off quite easily, otherwise they'll just fall and kill themselves. So there, and then basically there's a whole tree line here at the top as well, on the east side of Bash. Show you now. People like to sit here, especially on the upper part, the barracks side around here, just chilling in these trees right here. Oop. And then they have a good viewpoint. So always make sure clear these trees before you go and loot here. Don't just barge in and start looting. You might just regret it. Yeah, check the tree lines. Yeah, so that's basically it for Bash. There's not really a lot of other places where people tend to camp. That's probably the most popular is this hill and then the radio tower. Right, I actually know about some very good spots here. But yeah, anyway. So let's move on to Troitsko, or Commence Military Base. Right, so this is Troitsko, or Commence Military Base, whatever you want to call it. I remember it as Troitsko. People used to tend to call it Troitsko Military Base. Anyway, this yellow HQ building, this is probably the #1 spot people love to sit at, because they're high up, they can overwatch the tents quite easily. Really good spot to camp at, but also not so good, especially if people actually know about it. And then another good spot here where people like to sit. It's all common spots though. It's just good practice to watch. Always try and scan the area before you just start looting. But yeah, another obvious spot here is trees right here, tree there at the top, trees here, and then there by those toilets, porta potties. People like to sit around there. Yeah, that's basically for the tent here at the bottom. Let's go up to the top. Right, so yeah, at the western part of Commenced Military Base. Always just keep our eye out before you start looting this L shape here, because people also like to sit here at the back. Also one of the common spots. So look how easily they can see through the windows here. And if as soon as you just stand still there, boop, you're dead. So yeah, always keep an eye out for that. And then the other obvious spot here to sit at is actually on the factory building at the back. Big garage doors. Anyway, yeah, another helicopter, just ignore that. Anyway, they love to sit at the top here because you also have a very good vantage point from the top here over the barracks side. Let me show you guys before these zombies come and interfere again. People love to sit here. Another thing is, if you ever shoot somebody up here, always double tap with basically with a grenade. Throw a grenade up here, because it's possible that you will uncon them and they will go like down here, so you won't be able to shoot them, except if you run all the way back there. You'll be able to see them and make sure they're dead. But yeah, if you just uncon them, they might get up here, you won't see it, you'll be busy fighting zombies, and yeah, they will make their way down again and possibly flank you. But yeah, this is obviously one of the most obvious spots here at the top of Commenced Military Base. Right guys, so last but not least, let's go to Tissy. Right guys, so Tissy, here by the barracks is There's basically not really a lot of camping spots. One of the major camping spots is this big tree here. Nice cover for whoever's sitting there and camping over the barracks here, but it's also quite an obvious spot. So yeah, I'll say just always have a quick glance there, check nobody's sitting there. And then also they tend to sit a little bit deeper in at those trees, but it's quite difficult, especially with the zombies around here. They are so sensitive, so it's possible for them to get seen by zombies. But yeah, always check trees up there, and this one big tree here. Love to camp here. So this is it for the barracks. Let's go down towards the tents. Yeah guys, to see tents. Not really a lot of spots here that's obvious, but three of the most obvious spots is basically this hill up top here. People like to sit there, especially if they have ghillie suits on. That second most obvious spot right up there. Snipers like to sit in there, one of these dizzy towers. Nice sniper's nest there. And then the other obvious spot, I used to think it's not an obvious spot, but yeah, then I found out fairly recently it actually is an obvious spot. A lot of people know about it. Right up here, it's a really good spot though. You are very well covered. If you sit still, especially at night time and you have NVGs, good spot to sit at. But unfortunately, it's quite common, so people tend to check this rock quite a lot these days. But yeah, you can have a look yourself. So this is Tissy for you that I can think of. Just some of the basic spots to check. Always check before you start looting. Yeah, so in the not distant future I'll bring out another video where I'll showcase some of the good camping spots actually where people don't tend to look at, which is really good spots. Some of them you won't expect people to be there, especially at the airfield. I've got you covered on a really awesome spot. Anyway guys, thanks for watching the video. Leave a like, thumbs up, subscribe if you want to, and yeah, till the next one. Cheers guys.